How I ride. 1. First, I practice going backwards. Going backwards and swerving is the best way to make the body aware of position and balance. Vision, proprioception, vestibular complex are all subconscious. Our motor outputs can be trained by paying attention to their inputs. 2. Next, I practice slow speed riding. Leaning is not involved, and you must force the handlebars. You must shove hard, vigorously to keep in line, thrusting left and right, jerking the steering column with precise, sudden inputs. It is impossible to push too hard. I impose myself on the handlebars. I do not let them do whatever they want. I squeeze my knees against the tank and feel the grip from my knees to pelvis. I aggressively dominate the bike, muscling it, getting to know it, so that in an emergency swerve, the bike will respond the way I want. This lesson is crucial. 3. Once at speed, from that indescribable moment, I no longer steer with the handlebars, but with the legs. I input as little as possible into the steering column. Suddenly, leaning is a turn, and avoiding handlebar inputs at all costs is a better ride than pressing on the handlebars. What nerdy speed fetishists love to talk about as a cognitive enlightenment. Handlebar inputs are verboten, heretical, false. 4. I use the clutch to get out of first gear. I shift from there on without a clutch. Second to third, without a clutch. Third to fourth, the same. It gets easier. The only thing that is absolutely impossible is to come to a complete stop in first gear without pulling on the clutch lever. Shifting down is harder, but can be done. I match the revs by feathering the throttle and just slip it in. At a stop sign, I shift down to neutral, then at coast, I apply the brakes to slow them to the minimum possible speed and call that a stop, or at least a California stop. At that moment, I drop into first gear without the clutch and get right back on the throttle. 5. I ride for truth and for beauty. I ride for both, but I don't hold one to be higher than the other. I ride for the truth of the dictum that the handlebar inputs can kill, and I ride for the beauty of the smoothness and gentleness and poise and balance. I ride for the truth that you don't need a clutch to shift, and balance that with the need to be graceful and unobtrusive. Sometimes, because of my adherence to my dictum, I jam a gear. Not pretty. Sometimes I over-rev. I strive for balance, union, understanding. 6. When pedestrians in the area, I default to the clutch. Safety comes first. In traffic, splitting lanes, I'm all over the clutch. Safety of others always comes before either truth or beauty for the rider. 7. Truth is not only what we find, but what we make. When we are honest and dedicated to basic principles and brave enough to shed current custom. Customs always change. Beauty, found and made, attracts the heart like truth does the mind, but uses words less and more sensuously. Beauty and truth are polar. Beauty is allowed to be divorced from truth. It must be free to corrupt truth at any, not every, turn. Truth is not beautiful. It is hard and unyielding, not something desirable to look at. One looks not because one wants to, one looks because one has to.